Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk faster, faster, faster. Gotta talk fast.
Welcome to an oral review of Archie Comics Sonic the Hedgehog, reminding you that although the U.S. military is currently an all-volunteer force, registration is still required and for contingency planning and preparation for two types of draft. A general draft based on the registration list of males aged 18 to 25, and a special skills draft based on professional licensing list of workers in specified healthcare occupations. In the event of either type of draft, the Selective Service System would send out induction notices, adjudicated claims for deferments or examples, and assign draftees classified as conscientious. I know how to say it. I don't know why I can't say it right now.
I know.
Conscientious. The objectors to alternative service work. All male U.S. citizens and immigrant non-citizens who are between the ages of 18 and 25 are required by law to have registered within 30 days of their 18th birthday, and must notify the Selective Services within 10 days of any changes to any of the information they provided on their registration cards, such as a change of address. The Selective Service System is a contingency mechanism for the possibility that conscription becomes necessary. I'm Nick, and except for this intro, I wrote the script.
I'm Dominic, and except for this completely unrelated intro, I haven't read any of today's script.
Yeah, I don't know what made you think about, the draft. We honestly, we could just probably get rid of our army. We don't really need one.
Yeah, I mean, after looking at the parade, I'm like, yeah, no, we nailed it. We got it. We got it, baby. Anyway, no, I didn't really have an intro ready, so I ran to my computer and just started typing away. So that was just a random one.
You ran to your computer?
I ran to my computer. Other than the past tense, which is Tehran.
You beat me. I was like, I can make a joke here. And I was thinking about Tehran. But I was like, I don't know how I can make that work. And then you just forced it in. Like, it was a square hole and you had a circle and you just shoved a circle through and you're like, this joke works.
I deployed a
perfect joke.
A massive ordnance airburst, and I bunker busted that square hole. All right.
Yep. You bunker busted that hole.
Nick and I were watching the announcement of the U.S. bombings on Iranian nuclear sites, apparently, and that was such a great time. I loved it.
God, I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them.
We are reading Supersonic versus Hyper Knuckles Special, release date February of 1996. Crash of the Titans, script by Mike Gallagher, penciled by Art Mahwini. We open on Knuckles walking along the perimeter of the Great Forest. Sensors alert the freedom fighters who gather in the control room of Knothole. Knuckles is on a mission, marching along the border of the Great Forest and straight into Robotropolis. Sonic says derogatorily that, that dreadlocker makes my spines tingle. He's up to no good. I'm not sure, but dreadlocker feels racist. If it's not, Sonic 100% meant that in a racist way. Sonic dashes off. We cut to Knuckles, standing in the heart of Robotropolis. Phew. What a disgusting mess. These landlubbers are living proof that Echidna society was right to abandon technology and revert to being environment friendly. Me, Nick, the writer of the script, would like to interject and say the mere fact of lifting an island, literally removing it from the environment, is not environmentally friendly. In fact, I'd say it's the opposite, since you actually destroyed the environment. We flash back to a conversation between Knuckles and Mighty. Knuckles explains that he's seen a Chaos Emerald break in half. Mighty refuses to believe that the ultimate energy source could be broken. Knuckles then switches topics. Long ago, When my ancestors raised this floating island into the sky, it was powered by a dozen Chaos Emeralds, but not anymore. Now there's only one green gem in the central chamber that worries me. I'm the guardian of this island. If that last emerald fails, it could spell doom for everyone? Mighty asks how he can get another one. Knuckles walks up to a tree they just happen to be standing next to. He opens a hatch in the tree and pulls out the Book of Myths. Mighty gasps. Knuckles opens it up and begins reading. Let's see. Here we are. Chaos Emeralds are mystically linked to the magic rings found inside the zones. However, legends speak of one other location where they can be found. The Book of Myths is apparently a picture book. Inside, we see 3 pictures. First is a lake. The second, the lake begins to glow gold. And then third, the ring is floating above said lake. The Lake of Rings! It is said that the pastoral pond can suddenly give off a golden glow, and a magic ring breaks the surface. Some say the rings are a byproduct of the emeralds. Others say it's the other way around. What did we say Mighty sounds like?
I have no clue. I do not remember. You know what? Let's just... I'm going to pull an audible. Rocky. He sounds like Rocky.
That might actually have been it. Look it.
It definitely was not it, because I would have remembered this. This is good.
So this is Mighty, the armadillo.
Yeah.
Look here. The ring radiates cosmic energy. The ring radiates cosmic energy, but the lake's location is lost to history. It's just Knuckles, but deeper.
Yeah, but you know what? That's good.
Knuckles, and this is Knuckles again? Maybe not. The key word is radiates. You know that Sonic the Hedgehog battles a villain called Robotnik who lives in a radioactive city called Robotropolis. So what if the source of the radiation isn't pollution? Maybe the Lake of Rings is nearby. And where there's rings, there could be Chaos Emeralds. I gotta know. Mind the island for me, Mighty. Knuckles jumps off the island and glides down using his dreadlocks, lands at the edge of Knothole Forest, and starts marching towards Robotropolis. Knuckles stumbles upon a grotto with an old camera monitoring the lake. Knuckles starts to investigate the grotto when he gets uppercutted by our favorite blue hedgehog. End of part 1.
I mean, as always, not much. This first part, so they're just doing a lot of setup. I like how the fairy tale Book of Rings is a picture book, pretty much. When you look at the fairy, I don't know, you just expect it to be like a very text-heavy thing, but instead there's just like, no, you guys are dumb. You need an actual image to know how this works.
Yeah, it's like whoever wrote this or published it was like, yeah, we know the education here is like absolutely non-existent and shit. So yeah, pictures. And they're really well done pictures too. I thought it'd be like hieroglyphs or something. But no,
that would have made sense. Yeah,
they have like a printer. They have like a printing press.
Oh, they had a printing press at one point in time. Yeah. For sure. And the wild thing for me is actually the fact I didn't really focus on it, but there's just a hollow tree with the book inside it.
I think that was I think I remember something like that before, where they found a book in a tree, or they referenced it. But either way, it is silly.
Yeah.
That he happened to be by
honestly, I support it, truthfully.
Yeah. Or it's tubes.
You think the trees are like the internet and just a series of tubes?
Select trees, not all of them, of course, but some of them are select.
That feels very Avatar of you.
Oh yeah, is that what they do?
The Navi, yeah. The whole.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was the Last Airbender.
You're thinking Last Airbender. Embarrassing.
I've not seen The Last Airbender. I'm sorry.
You should. It's good.
That's what I've heard.
The Avatar, the real Avatar, the James Cameron Avatar. they're if I remember correctly, their like ecosystem is like just completely connected with one another.
I do know that.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So it's pretty much just like organic internet, which I think is a fantastically cool idea.
It is. Let's see here. I don't think I've ever seen Sonic that aggressive, where he just runs up to Knuckles and sucker punches him.
Yeah, it's definitely out of left field, but I support it. We need more Sonic just uppercutting people.
Like, which is like a serious power if you're a speedster. Like, you have that in your deck the whole time.
On top of it, I know that like they might not like each other that much, but like Knuckles has proven that he's not like evil. If anything, misguided, but can be reasoned with.
The last time
Sonic
they
is
met,
still like, let's uppercut him.
The last time they met, Knuckles like freed him from a house of mirrors, I think, right?
Yeah, something like that.
What was the point? Why did you start with that?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that was when was it Knuckles went like 50 feet tall and fought
yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. What is Sonic doing? Knuckles literally just saved his life like 2 weeks ago, I think.
I like how Antoine is like, or like Sonic makes fun of Antoine for like holding committee on everything. Bro, look, the alternative here is not very promising.
Well, I mean, I can see why Antoine wants to hold committee all the time now, because if Sonic's first move is to just go uppercut everyone, yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm Team Sonic on this one. I think he should be uppercutting more people, and I think Antoine is just making a bunch of red tape. The stupid,
I don't know.
Liberal.
This is crazy fantasy to me. I can't imagine a weak-wristed legislature not reeling in the aggressive powers of an executive. Like that's crazy to me. I can't imagine that.
I think, I mean, Sonic is, we'll say, kind of low-key the leader of the freedom fighters. Like, I know Sally's the head and whatnot, but Sonic's the leader. Let's be real. He's got all the power. Mm-hmm. And I think Sonic should unilaterally be able to go and just take out certain targets without having to bog down his plate with unnecessary bureaucracy. That's just, I'm a firm believer of, like, hypothetically, if, I mean, we know that there's something nuclear going on here at Robotropolis.
Yeah, because it's like a radioactive bog or something, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if he's storing Chaos Emeralds underground, I think Sonic should be allowed to maybe bust up some bunkers and find out what's underground and find out what's causing this nuclear issue.
Look, as long as the president notifies Congress within 48 hours of military action, then that's all that matters. That's all I care about. Let's compromise with that. Let's compromise with that. Yeah.
Does he have to do it before or after? Because if he notifies Congress before he does the action, then what's the point of the action? They can move the Chaos Emerald by then.
Within 48 hours. It might leak out. Within 48 hours. That's fast enough.
Of the action. So after. Yeah. Okay. That's all I needed.
Crash of the Titans Part 2. Knuckles flies into the air, does a cool little flip, and lands back on his feet. Knuckles prepares for a brawl when Sonic announces that he must read this piece of paper before they fight. I, Princess Sally, blah, blah, blah. Legal department requires yak, yak, offer your non-violent discussion, on and on.
You know what's really funny? This is very Trump of him.
like quoting him, pretty much.
Yeah.
Just then, a fist appears, punching through the paper and into Sonic's face, knocking him on the ground. Here, Sonic calls Knuckles Redbone. I'm not sure, but Redbone feels racist. If it's not, Sonic 100% meant it in a racist way. Sonic gets up and starts running in place, like an engine revving, ready to unleash the beast. Sonic gives himself the green light, and he dashes to Knuckles' face, punching him. Sonic continues running and begins to circle back for another attack. Knuckles sees the route Sonic is going to take and pulls up the root of a nearby tree, creating a tripping hazard for Sonic. It works. Sonic gets up and literally lifts the tree from the ground, uprooting it. He takes the tree and smashes it on Knuckles' head. Sally rolls up in her floating scooter and tells everyone to calm down. Her portable computer, Nicole, is detecting some serious radiation, and it's coming from the hole where Sonic ripped up the tree. The three of them walk up to the hole. End of part 2.
This is going to be very action-oriented comic, so...
Yeah, this is like very like Goku and Vegeta coded.
I mean, it's about to be, if it wasn't before. The only real call-out I have is I know Sonic is strong, but he literally uproots a tree and swings it like a bat at Knuckles. That is... I shouldn't, but I can excuse that as like adrenaline. Like Sonic does have like more, like completely normal Sonic, I think still has more strength than the regular Mobian, you know? Oh, I agree 1,000%. Yeah.
And when he's on adrenaline, I can, that's a big leap though. Uprooting a whole ass tree.
A whole tree.
Yeah, man. There's not like a lot of emotional stakes there. That's just him brawling with Knuckles. That doesn't feel right to me. That really doesn't.
I do like the bit of Sonic trying to read whatever BS Sally is trying to make him, read, and then Knuckles just punching through the paper. I think it's a pretty funny bit. Yeah,
it is good. Because he's technically like, these are two members of two foreign countries, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like Knothole and Angel Island. The de facto leader of Angel Island. So like, or the floating island, right? So bro, this is an international incident already. That Sally has to show up and calm down.
I mean, if you think about it. Sorry.
It's actually really funny, Nick, when you don't tell the joke and you just laugh to yourself. That's actually really funny, Nick.
Well, it's funny because it has infinite possibilities, right?
Right.
I could have thought anything, and everyone would have been like, "You insert your own joke then," and you're like, "That's probably what Nick would have said. That would have been hilarious." I kind of wish he said it, right? It's like edging, right? It's you make them think of a good joke, but you don't satisfy their joke.
Crash of the Titans, Part 3. Sally, Sonic, and Knuckles are peering over a hole looking into an almost amusement park-esque area, with rings and spiked balls like you would see in a Sonic level. More importantly, there are several Chaos Emeralds floating around the zone. Knuckles, seeing the Chaos Emeralds, dives right in with no hesitation. Sonic, seeing Knuckles dive in with no hesitation, dives in himself when Sally decides this is a perfect time to drop a bombshell. "Oh, go after him, Sonic. He hasn't changed since we used to spend summers together." Sonic immediately perks up and asks, "What does she mean?" Sally exclaims this isn't the time or place. Sonic dives back into the zone, chasing Knuckles. Sonic finds Knuckles. He's hoarding dozens of rings, but Sonic himself is holding rings as well, and a Chaos Emerald. Sonic starts thinking that he'll need to do some extreme measures if he's going to beat Knuckles, and begins monologuing. "It's the only way, as Knuck said. This zone's rich in rings and emeralds. By juicing to top speed and running over him, I'll hit the magic numbers." Sonic runs over Knuckles, knocking him over. And those numbers are 50 magic rings and 7 Chaos Emeralds, changing me into Super Sonic. Sonic turns golden and asks for Knuckles' unconditional surrender. Unbeknownst to Sonic, he explained how to turn super out loud, and Knuckles was able to hear how to change. Knuckles gathers up the 7 Chaos Emeralds and 50 rings and turns into Hyper Knuckles, which is essentially Shiny Knuckles. That is about the extent I can do Pokémon jokes, so enjoy it. It's pretty much the last one. A pink variant of Knuckles. Knuckles and Sonic exchange very Shadow-esque dialogue, with Sonic claiming Knuckles is a copycat and that Knuckles' power can't compare to his. You talk too much, Super Hog, so I'm gonna super shut you up once and for all. Hyper Knuckles uppercuts Super Sonic. Not bad, Hyper Knuckles. Your strength has increased 1,000-fold. Sonic then starts beating on Knuckles' face like it's a speed bag that boxers use. But that means Super Sonic is 1,000 times faster than before. Perhaps you've noticed. Sonic and Knuckles run at each other like Tom Cruise diving towards Doug Ray Scott at the end of Mission Impossible 2, end of part 3.
That's a pretty good image.
It is.
It is. More people need to think about the time when Tom Cruise and I already forgot the other guy's name, drive at each other on a motorcycle at top speeds. Not much. I mean, it's very obvious that they don't know the rules yet for anything. So having hundreds of Chaos Emeralds in a zone is like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, because it matches the games, right?
No. Because in the games, there's only 7 completely.
I thought there was a game at this point where there was like just Chaos Emeralds strewn around. No, I'm thinking of something. I'm either thinking of something else or just completely misremembering it.
Yeah, I think you're misremembering.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Then where would they get that? Where would they get that idea from?
All the cat. I mean, I think in their mind, Chaos Emeralds are just around, right?
Yeah, that
there aren't just like a set number. Which, if you only played the games without like reading the manuals, I can see how you get there. Or even whatchamacall. I don't know what the rules are in the TV show because I haven't seen it.
I don't either. I would think they're rare. Do they even show up in the TV show? We don't know.
No, I obviously I don't know. I mean, I did watch a few episodes when I was like 5, right?
Yeah, same. But like,
and the only thing I remember was he got the rings, right? And that gave him power, and that would allow him to do like a super spin dash or something.
Our commenters can immediately correct us on this, but I'm
yeah, right.
I don't even. I have a feeling that Knuckles didn't even exist in Sat-Am. I have that feeling.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he didn't.
He did. He didn't. Okay, good. Well, good that I remember that. So yeah, they're just just shooting from the hip with the lore.
Well, I mean, if it makes sense if Sonic can go supersonic, that another creature can go.
That makes sense. No, that makes sense. But just the fact that there's 1,000 Chaos Emeralds lying about makes no sense in the sense that I thought these things were supposed to be rare and powerful. You're just sapping them of their importance.
Yeah. Or maybe by the end of this issue, we'll find out why they're rare.
Oh, look at that. Mr. I remember the comic. Mr. I didn't just
I wrote
read
it this morning.
Yeah, I know. Mr. I didn't read it. Here's the problem. I know it always sounds like I never read the comic. The truth is I read the comic almost immediately after we finish recording. So
yeah, rookie move.
Yeah, so I don't remember much.
The real big call out here is that Dominic's bad at his job. No. Is the Sally just deciding to drop some lore, being like, "Hey, as you're leaving, just a heads up, me and Knuckles used to hang out every summer as kids."
What an insane way to phrase that. Like,
well, and also like, why is now
why is it relevant?
Yeah, like, why are you saying this now? You could have said this many moons ago. You know, like, it makes no sense. I mean, I assume.
He hasn't changed since we used to hook up during
yeah, right,
during spring break.
I mean, the assumption is like there's some sort of like royalty thing happening there, right? Where like all of the royal clans of the countries like got together like for summer.
That's the best thing that's the best explanation I can give. Yeah. I can also contribute to, because it's like they're the leaders of their respective mini countries, or countries in exile, government's in exile. So I don't know what else. Do they explain it at the end here? I've already forgotten. No, they don't.
No.
It's just completely left hanging. Cool. Love it. Great job, guys.
It's it's just like a UN summit every summer while they try to like deal with the Robotnik problem.
That doesn't unless this comic takes place over years, that doesn't make sense because Knuckles is still, I don't know. Knuckles is still new-ish. Not newish, but like they just met, it feels like. Like, I mean, not like literally just met, but like still new to each other.
Oh, sure.
Crash of the Titans, Part 4. The Titans crash, both unleashing their full power on one another. They bounce back and continue. The two combatants hurtle towards each other at incalculable speed. Unimaginable raw energy erupts, literally bending time and space. The walls containing the zone's reality begin warping wildly. The zone can no longer contain itself. It swells, it cracks, it explodes. We cut to Robotnik and a SWAT bot looking at a computer. They conclude that the zone is destroyed and all the Chaos Emeralds and rings in the zone have been annihilated. We cut back to Sonic, who is back on Mobius and waking up. Sally walks up to Sonic and helps him up. Sonic asks, "What happened?" "After you guys entered the zone, I rejoined Tails, who was monitoring your progress. Suddenly, we saw it blown to bits. We watched as the very fabric of reality tore apart, ejecting you two maniacs. You landed right next to the lake, where it all started. I got to my sky cycle and flew here, ASAP." Sally and Sonic get on the sky cycle and start flying away. We cut to Knuckles, flying back to the floating island, with Mighty waiting for his return. Mighty informs Knuckles that his fight with Sonic has been the talk of the town, and that they think all the Chaos Emeralds have been destroyed in a battle. Knuckles hears this and shows Mighty one of the Chaos Emeralds he had with him the entire time. End of Part 4.
So I think the implication here is, well, it does say just specifically that zone, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's saying that zone collapse, taking all the emeralds with it and the rings, right? Yeah. I bet they're going to use that as an excuse to why there's like 0 Chaos Emeralds now, right? It's too easy of a thing. Yeah.
They randomly set up this thing where the Chaos Emeralds, where the Chaos Emeralds are plentiful, and then they immediately solve that issue in the same story.
Yeah, well, and then on top of it, they're like, oh yeah, you literally bent time and space when you guys destroyed that zone. So I'm like, okay, this is what's happening, is they're like, something's going to happen where the effects of this is going to ripple through time or something, and all the Chaos Emeralds are going to be gone except for 7.
They needed, so they had 2 options. Either 1, simply say that there are 7 Chaos Emeralds. That's it. That's all you need to say. Or 2, we have them fight, and that's their fault. And so to me, it sounds like they needed a special, right? They were contracted with a special, and it's like, well, we obviously need to have Sonic and Knuckles fight. That sounds cool. Well, we need to have consequences for this fight. Okay, well, let's have it so that there's they worked backwards, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
That's the vibe I'm getting from this on a meta level. So I don't know. that's the best I can come up with.
Speaking of a meta level, has Knuckles ever gone Hyper Knuckles in the games?
In the games, maybe, but I don't know up to this point. I don't know. I don't know who did it first, the comics or the games. So this is 1996, right?
I think you can maybe do it in Sonic 3, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And Sonic 3 came out in 95 or 96?
95 or something like that.
Okay.
It's before
the comic.
This comic. We're past...
Before this story, this issue.
We're in that zone between Sonic Adventure coming out and Sonic Fighters is about to come out, I think.
Yeah.
And Sonic Racing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to figure out, is this like an actual thing that happens in the games, or if this is just like a comic thing. Because I've always known about Hyper Knuckles, but I've never seen him, right?
I honestly think they probably saw like a hint of some kind of Hyper Knuckles or Super Knuckles, right? Because there's no distinction yet. It's just, hey, Sonic has a super mode, so Knuckles can have one as well. That's probably all I saw, and they created the lore around that simple concept. That's my bet.
Right, but this is one of those things where like the comics still need to get approval from Sega. So like the storyline of Hyper Knuckles was approved by Sega. So to me that means that like Hyper Knuckles is something that they were going to play with at some point in the comic or in the games and just never did.
I don't know. It's all speculation. We're vibing. We could probably look this up, but we don't have that time because we're recording this at 7 a.m.
Yes. Only because someone decided to start World War III last night. And
yeah, that was cool.
I was way too tired to,
way past
or
cool.
exhausted. It was way past cool. You know?
That bomb was way past the bunker walls. Let me say that. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Fathers and Sons. Script by Mike.
So that's the end of. Or how do we think about this Crash of the Titans as a whole?
It's as a 12-year-old, it's cool, right?
It's a fun little romp.
It's a fun little brawl. So
yeah, my only weird thing is that the Chaos Emeralds are apparently radioactive. I forgot to call this out earlier. Because that's why it goes to Robotropolis, is because he's like, oh, it's radioactive there, and a Chaos Emerald is radioactive, right?
Yeah, so the thing is, there's like, I think they're implying it's not like traditional, like, alpha, beta, gamma radiation. It's probably like special, unique, like, the energy of the Chaos Emeralds radiates a special kind of radiation that could be safe to be around. That's my guess on it.
I don't think they're doing that at all. I think
literal radiation.
Yeah, but I think their thought process is, because obviously if that's the case, the floating island would be radiated, right? But they have that chamber inside the island that houses all the radiation and whatnot. I assume that's the route they're going down.
Yeah. That. Okay.
I don't know. I just don't like the idea of it because, like, it's a dead zone in Robotropolis, right?
Okay.
Because and so like that's part of how he gets that conclusion is that it's radiated, and so I think we are in a world where everyone is immune to radiation. Yeah,
it's just something the writers don't think about.
Yeah, it's because.
Yeah, you know.
There was some sort of nuclear war or something, and these animals are all evolutions of it, and that's why they're all immune to radiation, and they're really just absorbing the radiation of the Chaos Emeralds when they go super. This is a radiation-based society, I think.
Or they were all just normal woodland creatures, and then the radiation made them anthropomorphic.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Yeah,
okay,
for sure.
Yep, that's totally how Ken Penders envisions this.
Or it's like the lore of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where someone was holding an emerald and they were human, and they touched. No. Sorry, I'm mixing up because the movies have different lore than the show and whatnot. It's the last thing you touch, so. Like a hedgehog was being held by a human, and then he went up next to a Chaos Emerald and then morphed into a half human, half animal thing. That's my lore now for these Sonic characters.
Heroes in a half shell. Like, what's a full shell?
I mean, it's exactly what you would think. It'd be a big round shell.
They're turtles. Of course they're in a half shell, right?
Oh, yeah.
It just seems redundant to me. I never understood that lyric. Okay.
Well, I mean, if it was a full shell, it'd be a big round shell.
I know, but you don't have to point it. I understand the alliteration that you're heroes in a half shell. I never liked the Turtles all that much. Honestly, the only Turtles thing that I enjoy was the most recent movie from 2023. The Turtles actually felt like, I'm sure they're like, I think there's a Nickelodeon series that came out in the past 10 years that is good probably, or like addresses my concern, but they always felt like college frat boys at the least, if not dudes in their 20s. They never felt like teenagers.
I think you grew up watching the one where Shredder's a robot, right? Oh, no, the originals?
I think it was either the movies, probably like clips of the movies, and then like the 2D animated 80s cartoons. They were okay. Like frat boys.
It's been a while. I'm not going to defend anything. To be fair, I'm pretty sure you're wrong.
To be fair, though, in the 80s, high schoolers were just treated like 20-year-olds and portrayed as such in media. That's why I always.
Well, I mean, because they were all drinking.
Yeah, that's why I always appreciate shows where it's like, no, this is a real 14-year-old. Like a 14-year-old really does look like a fucking child, and that's not portrayed properly enough in media. So kudos to the ones that do.
Okay. Man, I had a joke, but I don't remember now. Way to go.
Good? All right.
Yeah.
Fathers and Sons, script by Mike Kincernovich and Ken Penders. Inked by Ken Penders.
Oh, before we get there, I envision Knuckles' dad as James Earl Jones with a Brooklyn accent.
That's tough.
I'm just saying and anything less, I'm going to be pissed, and I'm going to end the podcast right here.
Okay.
Forever. Can you do James Earl Jones first? Just
I gotta practice it here. Let me practice my James Earl Jones first. Death ain't nothing. I done seen him. Done wrestled with him on these fences. You can't tell me nothing about death. Death ain't nothing but
Are you doing the fucking monologue from Fences?
I gotta get authentic here. For the record, I dropped the word on these fences. That's not in the monologue. I just did that to alert you to the...
Well, yeah, because that doesn't seem like good dialogue. Doesn't that movie take place in Brooklyn? Can't you just like steal his accent in that movie completely?
No, it takes place in Pittsburgh because it's part of the Pittsburgh cycle. But where August Wilson did like 13 stories all set in Pittsburgh. August Wilson is the playwright. Okay.
Playwright, I assumed, yeah.
Knuckles is in the process of being Lion Kinged. He is standing on top of a mountain overlooking the floating island. Plus Brooklyn, okay. And someday soon, my son. It's just Rocky.
Just commit.
And someday soon, my son, it'll fall onto your shoulders, the mantle of guardian of the floating island, and you alone will be responsible for all that lies around you.
It sounds like Rocky just trying to be serious.
It's like Rocky doing the speech to the Soviet crowd.
Yeah.
This is Child Knuckles. Wow. Yes, it is an awesome task, handed down through the generations of our ancestors. Now, follow me, for this is what it's all about. Knuckles' dad takes Knuckles to a zoot chute, where he takes them to the Chaos Emerald that is keeping the island afloat. That, my dear son, is your legacy. Behold the Chaos Emeralds with power to keep our entire island aloft over the surface of Mobius below. Is that all it does? No, there is more, much more to the story. But there is only so much you can write in a single issue. There is only so much you can learn at any given time. For now, let's just say you've been given the basics. For only when you have all the pieces will you be able to understand. We cut to modern-day Knuckles standing in the ruins of a city looking for the Chaotix crew. I'd be able to understand. Interesting. Now that I think of it, Archimedes did sound a lot like my dad. To be more specific, the words sounded like dad, but the sound of Archimedes... He's just walking. He's just walking, talking to himself. I love this. Are these... Wait, no, are these thought bubbles? Are these thought bubbles?
No, he's saying this out loud.
Talking.
He's monologuing. So since we kind of interrupted here, I love this little bit because this was Ken writing, like being like, this dude is kind of like is like a father figure to Knuckles, right? This Archimedes, not father figure, but like in the same vein. He's trying to like invoke like elder echidna, I assume. Right. And then he wrote that line and was immediately like, well, I can't write that line because everyone's going to think that Archimedes is his dad, and he's not. Or he is, and he's trying to get everyone off that sense. Mm-hmm. And so he's immediately like, undo, but I can't undo that line. I need to undo the idea of part of that line. And so he's just like in comic, like not retconning, but like editing in a way. I love it. Sorry, it's just very funny to me.
No, that's the exact thing that was going through my mind too. To be more specific, the words sounded like dad, but the sound of Archimedes' voice sounded it sounded different. It sounded right, Mike. It sounded different, right? Yeah. Could that mean? No, it couldn't be. There's no way Dad could have. Besides, it isn't helping me find the Chaotix, so I kind of flipped it for that joke, but he's literally just like stopping himself mid-sentence with another mid-sentence and just putting things together like that. Okay, back to the words. Besides, this isn't helping me find the Chaotix. Blundering around, however, isn't going to do me a fat lot of good either. Dad would expect me to use my head and think. Study the problem before you. We cut to Knuckles' father and child Knuckles, and we see a floating orb. And determine the best way to resolve the situation. In this case, we have a mysterious globular object floating around. We haven't any clue to its origins or intentions. So, my dear Knuckles, what would you say is our first course of action?
You're slowly turning into Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. Well, he's from Brooklyn, right?
Yeah.
I guess I would watch and wait and see what it does first. Very good, lad. Then what? I guess it depends. On what? Like maybe having to deal with it up close and personal? In effect, forcing you to make a decision. Is that correct? Yes, sir. And what have you decided? I'm not gonna take any chances. Child Knuckles punches the floating orb, and it explodes. Smoke fills the air, and Knuckles starts coughing. You've forgotten one of the most important lessons I've taught you. That the 1% of the 1%, know your enemy. We cut back to adult Knuckles.
The 1%.
I must admit, my father always would show me the way. If only I would pay attention. Still, even Dad couldn't prepare me for everything. And no matter how hard I try, I'll never forget what happened when we came to the Forbidden Zone. We cut back to the past. Child Knuckles and Knuckles' dad is standing at the edge of the Forbidden Zone, standing in front of a wall of fog, almost as if to fight a boss in a Dark Souls game. There is a task I must perform, Knuckles. You are not to come after me should anything happen, for only you can carry on as the Guardian. That is your responsibility. As for me, I answer to the calling of our forebears. Knuckles' dad is now standing in front of a wall of energy. No matter how much I may have wanted to, even when I witnessed my father leaping into that wall of energy and vanishing before my eyes, I stood my ground and honored my father's wishes. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done. But if my dad could make sacrifices time after time, then how could I not do likewise? It wasn't any picnic after a while after that. I'd keep finding new ways to mess up, like allowing Robotnik to make a dupe out of me. Things got so bad, I had to depend on that stupid Hedgehog to save my tail. And when he suggested I form the Chaotix into a team, I let my pride get in the way and suggested otherwise. I didn't want to admit it. It was time to grow up. That no matter what I did, I couldn't escape the responsibilities that he'd handed down to me. My dad did his best to teach me, but even he acknowledged that he couldn't teach me everything, that some of my answers lay elsewhere. And it's more than likely this Archimedes has a few of those answers. And so I'll get them. For you, Dad, as well as for the Chaotix. Knuckles begins screaming this at the moon and of fathers and sons.
I didn't really describe what Knuckles' dad looks like. It's just Knuckles with a
it's taller
goatee.
Knuckles wearing a kind of like karate white belt outfit.
I was gonna say I think they're going Jedi.
Oh, you're right. That makes sense, especially if it's Ken.
Yeah, I think it's a white Jedi robe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they still said a lot of nothing.
It's some backstory, but it's like it doesn't really go that deep. We don't get a lot of answers because Knuckles' dad doesn't even know, right? What's going on here?
The most we're getting is this Forbidden Zone thing, which
we've referenced before, has been referenced before.
I don't know. This is gonna make you angry, or at least it made me angry. I don't know if it's the same Forbidden Zone, because aren't they still on Angel Island? Or the floating island?
God damn it! If you're right, that is frustrating. Because you're right.
Because
the Forbidden Zone was the thing that they went to during a special, right? The Freedom Fighters went there. They did like 3 trials, and
it was the Badlands kind of area where it was just
there was like a camp,
kind of
that they attacked.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And then now that
because that's where they did the 3 trials, right, for Sally's thing.
Yeah.
Or I'm not 100% sure on that. It's been a while. But there was a Forbidden Zone, and I think it was just like maybe a ruinous old city. Not a wall of fog / energy that you get absorbed into, right?
There's something really funny about those panels, though, where it's like, hey, giant wall of fire. Let me just leap straight into this.
It is pretty good. I acknowledge I do like this.
I answer to the calling of our forebears, leaps into fire.
It does. I like it because there's a part of me that's just like, maybe this dude is suicidal and just hated his kid. And he just like made up this like very like elaborate lore that Knuckles has been basing his life off of the entire time, that none of it is real. And then he was just like, finally, let me get out of here. And he just like leaps into fire. Like, what if, because like, where's the other echidna? Right? There's no other one. Yeah. It's just Knuckles and his dad, right? So Knuckles' dad can be saying anything and Knuckles is just going to believe it, right? Like, what, dads like to fuck with kids. Like, I remember I dated a girl once whose father told her that whenever it said no outlet, that all the streets in that area have no outlets in their homes. And I was just like, that's a good joke. I might steal that in the future.
That is good.
But like, what if Knuckles' dad is just doing a bunch of this right now? Just being like, yeah, you gotta protect this island.
I shouldn't have hit it raw. I answer to the calling of our forebears.
Too much responsibility. He was like just enough of not a piece of shit to be like, let me teach you how to raise yourself. Here's how you hunt. Here's how old are you? 7? I'm good. I'm out. This is both against you and me.
See this whole floating continent? You're in charge of all of this. Fucks off to Reno
everything
Botnick.
The light touches Reno Botnick. Everything the sun touches is your sun. Yeah. Now it's time for me to leave.
That's great. A whole lot of nothing is really said here. A little bit of backstory, sure, and he's trying to. They're coming to the conclusion for Knuckles' character, like, hey, I hated this team, I hated having it, which to be fair, they didn't really portray that much. They had like a couple panels at the original like chaotic special. I was like, nah, I don't want to be in a team. And then like they're all kind of playing tag, and it's like I don't know. They don't really build up to that well. But the conclusion to this character arc is that, hey, I need to grow up and be part of this team. I need to rely on others, which isn't done very well because he's just by himself.
Well, also, didn't no one on that team wanted to be a team? Didn't they all reject the premise?
But they kept hanging out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can hang out, but not be a team.
I guess. This isn't done very well. It's not done very well, and it's spread out over, well, literal months. Like a half year, it feels like at this point.
It seems, yeah, right? Honestly, it feels insane because it's a lot of build up for something that doesn't seem like it needs build up.
No.
And you know, maybe the next issue is going to be like, oh, we needed all of this build up, but I can't see that happening.
Yeah. Great work, Ken Penders. This is, and Mike. This is the taste of the deep lore that we get with the echidnas. Can't wait.
Yeah, I just hope there's not more than one Forbidden Zone, because that's going to drive me up the fucking wall. Because there's already a Forbidden Zone. Don't make more. I'm sorry. That's just... And that's the issue. Only 381 left to go. I'm Nick. I stream at twitch.tv/Mojosaurus. My personal blue sky is at Mojosaurus.
And I'm Dominic. You can follow my jazz and people power adventures in Chicago. Just had a fun week where I visited a queer bar with a queer and trans friendly jazz jam, which is a beautiful highlight to see in the city. And you'll be seeing clips of that on my Instagram, intersped with anti-war protests that are probably going to pop up today and as we're recording this and throughout the week. So that's going to be fun.
You can follow us on socials at Gotta Talk Fast. TikTok is Gotta Talk Faster. We also have a video version of the podcast where you can follow along with our panels and watch our handsome faces. You can write into the show at sonicgrams at gottatalkfast.com, ask us questions, provide corrections, and give us your opinion on this week's issue. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And remember, when life keeps going fast, you gotta talk fast and just get through it.
I'm gonna punch you.
Oh.
Gotta talk.
Gotta Talk Fast was written by Nick Folkerts and edited by Dominic Guanzon. Intro and outro themes recorded by Dominic Guanzon. Gotta Go Fast originally composed by Norman J. Grossfeld, Joseph Garrity, and Russell Velasquez.
Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk fast.